Phase 2, Program 1, Workout E, our light strength training. So for today, our Phase 2, Program 1, Workout E, our light strength training today, our light intensity. We're going to begin with the get up. Now, as we're progressing our members through the get up, everybody's going to be at different levels. The things that we want to focus on for this program is that the control of the roll. So as I roll, I want to make sure I'm controlling my hip and I'm avoiding my knee falling down. If members progress from that hip roll, as they push their arm into the ground, reinforce that their shoulder's not forward. So really focusing on keeping that back as they bridge. And when they go through their bridging motion, the focus there is the heel. So making sure that they're driving their heel into the ground as they raise their hips up. The next thing to focus on, if your member continues to progress from here, is that sweeping motion. So when we think of that sweeping motion, it's a fire hydrant or a clamshell, but now it's active. So when we're progressing our members into the bridge or into the bridge to sweep, make sure that they have their shoulder back, they bridge, now they actively pull their knee back to help them through the rest of the motion of the get up. Done there, we're going to go into our Simba marches, and with those you can either start at the chest or above the eyebrows, just making sure those elbows are tight and that we're not leaning back, we're keeping everything tucked as we're marching. Afterwards, we're going to use our foam roller to go through our open books. Knee is stacked, arm is tall, I'm going to reach back, then bring it forward. So as I'm turning, I'm making sure my eyes and head move with me. Next is dumbbell floor press. We're going to start with pressing the bells up, slow and controlled, letting the back of the arms tap, then press up. For our members who are doing barbell bench press, we're going into a barbell floor press. Now start the weight lighter than we have, because what we want to do is we want to just see how the movement feels. We want to protect the elbows from crashing down. So I want to start the rack height at maybe 8 height. That way I can unrack that bar, slow and controlled, arms touch, and I press back up. So slow and controlled, I touch, bring it back up. Again, our goal here is not to get a bunch of heavy weight. It's a variation of a movement we know. Just make sure your heels are towards your butt, the weight is lighter, and you're controlling that weight down. Afterwards, we're going to go into a single leg glute bridge. We're going to hold the USB, rip it in half, and then go through your bridges. Again, I want to think as if I'm trying to pull my heel towards my butt as I raise up. That way I can get my hamstring to fire a little more. Now, if I want to progress this motion, what I can do is as I bridge up, I twist the same side in. Bring it down. So my left hip goes up, my left hand goes in. Quadruped hip extension. So with that position, I'm going to go onto my hands and knees, and then I'm going to go onto my elbows. From this position, I'm going to squeeze my heel towards my butt, lift up, bring it back down. I want to avoid overarching. So as I lift up, I make sure that my knee and hip are just in line, and I bring it down. Next, we're going to move into single arm rack squats, keeping the elbows. Next, we're going to move into single arm rack squats, keeping the elbow in tight, knuckles facing the ceiling. I'm going to reach back and squat. Now again, if we're having issues with keeping this position, regress into a goblet squat. We'll be pairing that up with a single arm TRX row. Now, if members aren't ready for this full movement, bring them down to a regular TRX row. But with the single arm row, what we want to do is the hard handle is going to be our support. The opposite loose end here goes in to support me. Now from this position, I want to keep myself at a little bit of a higher angle to begin with to feel the motion underneath my armpit as I'm rowing, making sure I'm keeping everything stable. Conditioning, we have an AMRAP, and that AMRAP is going to be kettlebell swings, whether it's double-handed, single-handed, or if our members are ready to progress into a snatch. Now, when it comes to the swings, the big things that we want to focus on, whether it's two-handed, single-handed, or even the snatch, is making sure that we're reaching those hips back and we're keeping our chest up. So Again, either two-handed swing, one-handed swing, or the kettlebell snatch. Now, how do we know if our member's ready to do a kettlebell snatch? Is if their single arm swings are looking flawless. Once we see members looking flawless in their single arm swing, meaning they're not rotating, they're really hinging their hips back, shoulders aren't involved, that's when we can help them with understanding the snatch. Our members ready to progress to a snatch. What we want to begin with is going into that single arm swing and then a pull and a push. Drop the elbow, single arm swing, a pull and a push as you go through that motion. Now there's a lot that goes into the snatch. The big thing there is they're pulling their elbow back and then they're pressing the bell up. As they drop the bell down, it's a slight bend in the elbow, then a single arm swing. Pull and press, bend the elbow, single arm swing, pull and press. Afterwards, we're going to go into a bear crawl hold or taps. Again, hands are underneath those shoulders. Our knees are underneath our hips. We raise up and hold, or add in that tap, actively pressing the hand into the ground. If we want to progress, what we can do is a slight crawl. Now with that crawl, elbow, the knees come up slightly. 1, 2, 2. It's going to be short, choppy steps to get them used to that motion of moving in a plank. Lastly, we're going to wrap up with banded bicep curls. Make sure those elbows are tight, pulling up tall, slow and controlled down.